So I've seen this movie about 4 times already, and I'm ready to do this review. So let's go ahead and get this started. So Avengers Infinity War is about Thanos, who after a tragedy that happened on his home planet that wiped out everyone except for him, he vowed not to let that happen again by any means necessary by balancing out the universe how he sees fit. And to achieve this, he must gather all 6 Infinity Stones, which separate holds immense power, but when put together in the Infinity Gauntlet, will give him the power to wipe out half the universe. So with this knowledge, the Avengers must form back together amongst other allies to stop the Mad Titan from accomplishing his goal. So yeah, to start off this review, I just really want to talk about the villain. Now, this is 10 years in the making. Ever since the first Avengers in the mid-credit scene, that was our first introduction of Thanos, the Mad Titan. And ever since then, we've been waiting for this event to happen where the Avengers have to go against the evil Mad Titan Thanos. And I just want to say that they did not disappoint with Thanos being a villain to where you understand where he's coming from. You understand him as a being and just his motives and why he's doing what he's doing. And just with him having a strong conviction behind it, it makes him to be a really good villain. One of the best villains in the MCU right now. He just solely believes it, and nothing is going to get in between him and accomplishing his goal. And they made him such a strong presence from beginning to the end, and even just going against the Avengers, he is a force to be reckoned with. And then also just that acting, like with the way that Josh Brolin portrayed Thanos, it was remarkable. The voice complimented the look of Thanos, and just everything about him just made him a dominant presence. You end up leaving the movie just loving this character. That's not taking away the acting from any of the other stars. Everybody did good in their respective roles. And of course, with this story being as huge as it is, you can only make room for certain peoples to shine more than others. A lot of people may be disappointed about some of the characters that had less shine. Some of them might be satisfied with the characters that were shined on. As well as that, you see a lot of combinations and a lot of chemistries that you haven't seen in other movies due to the fact that these characters in certain movies have not crossed over with the other characters in the other movies before. There were certain chemistries that they had that worked for these characters and for the movie. And it was a great balance of characters. I mean, the weight of it, you can kind of feel it, but not really. The simple fact that it's understood that trying to juggle all these characters, I don't care if it's 2 directors doing this movie, that you're going to have to shine a spotlight on certain characters rather than other characters, just so that you can have a well-rounded movie and that you're not losing your footing. I can say that it was balanced good for as many characters as this movie have in it. I enjoyed the action, the CG blended with it. A lot of times it did look really CG, but then other times it did blend well with it. So when you're looking at it, that's the furthest thing from your mind, but the action was really, really good. And the humor, like, you would think with a lot that this movie had to juggle that they might not have time for humor, but they did have humor. From just certain action scenes to just certain dialogue that was put in between certain scenes, the comedy was there. From just the crossovers, like I said, with certain characters that haven't crossed over with each other in the movies yet, it really stood out. And they did good with that. It wasn't overwhelming. And this movie is very dramatic. When it hits its dramatic points, it is very dramatic. When it hits its emotional point, it's very emotional. This movie is dark and it has depth in it, far beyond just a good versus evil. From just the characters that were already existing in prior movies, from just the introduction of the new villain in this film, they really did pull some emotional strings, and they really just bring you into this movie from all aspects. In this movie, when you pick it apart, really, you can find a lot of flaws with this movie. It was a really good movie, but it was not a perfect movie. One of the teeny tiny flaws about this movie I can point out that you might call it a nitpick is just the certain spotlight on certain characters. Being that this is Avengers Infinity War, a lot of Avengers hadn't got their spotlight in this movie particularly, even though it is an Avengers movie. You have other characters from other movies that get more of the spotlight than certain Avengers, but really it's not too big of a thing because it's like what they did with it, they did well. And with this movie, I felt the same way I felt about Civil War, is that because this movie has so many characters, it shouldn't be just labeled a certain character movie or certain characters movie. It should be a Marvel event film, like Marvel's Civil War, or this one should have been called Marvel's Infinity War, because then you can focus on maybe a handful of characters when you have 20 characters in that film. You'll still get the same outcome. But that is minuscule to everything that it did right. This movie, I can say that a lot of people are going to come out of this movie loving it like me, but a lot of people are going to come out of this movie hating it. Or you may be in between, like, I don't know really what to think about this movie. But whatever the case, this movie did what it was supposed to. It brought you in with the action, the chemistry amongst characters, the acting, the story, as well as just the emotional feel that you get in this movie. Whether it's sad, anger, excitement, it brings it all to you and more. This is one of those movies that is going to get people talking about for weeks after it's over. It's going to stay in your mind because it's just one of those impactful movies, especially if you're a comic book fan or you're just a big fan of the MCU ever since the first Iron Man, and you've been waiting ever since the first Avengers movie for this movie to come out. It's literally setting the bar for not just superhero movies, but for other films as well. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a 9.5. And so with all that said, thank you for joining me for this Take 1 movie review of Avengers Infinity War. Check out my spoiler cast that is up right now of Avengers where I get more into it. So yeah, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Hey, before you guys leave this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like because it will really help me out. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And you see that little bell? That's the notification. Turn that on, that way you'll be notified for anything that drops on my channel. And if you look down in the description below, you will see all the links to my social media, so go ahead and follow me on those if you haven't already. As well as there are links to my other content that's on the channel, from movie reviews to podcasts to so much more. And I hope to see you guys here again next time. So thanks and peace out.